Okay. Now what if I want to jump out to a 30-minute chart? That's heading in a downtrend too. Okay. I could pull a fibbo on that as well if I wanted to. The bottom line of the wave is up here near 36.35. So it's the same. It's more or less the same last major move as we looked at on the 15-minute chart. We could look for exhaustion around this 23.6. We could look for exhaustion around the 38.2. My bottom line of the wave, the 34 EMA low, is sitting at 36.34. So by the way, is there any one single magic swing or correction? Absolutely not. There's a couple different selections. There's no one right level. Okay, some traders are willing to take more aggressive, shallower corrections. Some traders want a little bit more of a substantial bounce. I think you could also look for what would be a better spot based upon past support and resistance. See this area right here where we actually rallied to and then exhausted? It's very near the bottom line of the wave, is it not? So that area between this past high, which looks to be 36.32, and the bottom line of the wave at 36.34 could be a good area to look for exhaustion. We've exhausted there before, and I've got my bottom line of the wave acting as dynamic resistance just 2 pips above that. Okay? So that could be another zone in order to trend follow this downtrend on the 30-minute Euro US dollar. Okay? Let's take a look and see if I can find some other market cycles here. Here's and I'd like to be able to show you guys a 12 to 2, okay, to show you what I mean by that. Just because you have a 12 to 2 does not mean that automatically you're going to start looking for fades or looking for rectangles and horizontal levels, because one of the things that you do need in order to fade is a level that you could say prices consistently exhausted at before. That's the best way to set up a fade. So having that horizontal level from an ascending or descending triangle or rectangle or a triple top, triple bottom is ideal. So here we have, this is a 2 to 4 o'clock angle. This is the 1 hour chart. Here's a look back of 2 weeks, and you can see here that it's not flat enough to be a 3, but it's no longer strong enough to be a trend. Okay? But I really don't have a good consistent level from which I could say prices are exhausting. So the market cycle's there. The price action isn't. What do you do with this chart? Or at least this time frame? Absolutely nothing. Okay, I could look at a 30-minute chart, see if I have any better read on support resistance. Not really. It's not really strong enough to be a downtrend, is it? This is let's make sure my look back is right. Well, this is basically 14 days, the high end of my 30-minute look back. Is it a great downtrend? I'd say it's barely 4 o'clock, right? It's barely 4 o'clock. Here's where you have to ask yourself, if I have another pair or another time frame within the cable, the British pound US dollar, that's showing me a clearer market cycle. If I compare the different market cycles along this pair, what am I looking for? I'm looking for the clearest signal of psychology. I'm looking for clarity of psychology. So when you're looking at different time frames within the same pair, what are you focusing in on? Which one is telling me the clearest story about the underlying market behavior, the underlying trader behavior? This 15-minute chart, not a great picture, not a great clear picture. In fact, it's probably a little bit more distribution. The 30-minute chart, it's trying to be a trending market, but I'll see if it's the best example of psychology as I go through the time frames. 1 hour, a little bit more of distribution. So let's move on to the 4-hour chart. Wow, that's actually showing me a little bit of an uptrend, isn't it? Okay. Interestingly enough, of these 4 intraday time frames, this uptrend, this slight uptrend on the 4-hour chart might be one of the better looks I have, interestingly enough. But really, what have I found? Right now, there's not a whole lot on the cable that's wowing me. in terms of the clarity of market cycle. I would probably say I'll make some notes about maybe the markdown or the markup cycle and the time frames, and I'll jot that down, and then I'll move on to another pair. Maybe I want to take a look at what's going on in the com dolls. I know Canadian dollar has been moving a lot, you know. So I think the only way to successfully trade by assessing different pairs is to look at the market in its entirety and then look at basically what the clearest psychology is. Okay? So you definitely want to be able to, I think, look at the market in its entirety first. And that means as you're scanning, kind of keep in mind that you don't have all day. Don't fixate on a single chart. If you can, and this has been my experience, and this is what I recommend, is get through the pairs and the time frames that you typically trade. For me, that means the Euro US dollar, the dollar yen, the cable, the dollar Swissy, the dollar Canada, and the Aussie. So I'm trying to get through those 6 pairs and the time frames that I trade on them as quickly as I can. And in that way, I can assess the entire market. I can, my view of the market, and determine which pair has the best clarity and the best setup for me. So a lot of times what I find new traders do, again, my observation, is that they fixate and they spend a lot of time doing a lot of analysis on a single time frame or a single pair. And by that, they're kind of cutting off their opportunity to find maybe better setups. So if you can, force yourself to go through the pairs first. You can always come back to one of them, or a particular time frame, or a particular pair. But get through your universe first, and then come back to do some detailed work. Make some quick assessments first, and then come back. Okay? And how are these quick assessments done? Well, starting off with that market look back. Starting off with your market cycle. Okay? Whatever your strategies are, deciding at that point, well, this is the strategy I'll employ for this time frame of this pair because it's in a particular market cycle, or because it's behaving in a particular way. Or maybe you'll determine that you don't want to trade a certain time frame because the clarity isn't there. That's a huge assessment right there. Knowing when not to trade, gosh, that in and of itself is reason enough to use tools like the wave and market cycles. Knowing what pair not to necessarily trade. Okay? All right, so again, just a quick review. The tools you see on this chart right now, with the exception of the color coding candles, you can put the actual moving averages on your chart by using the insert indicator and putting on the wave, the EMAs of the wave. The automated chart patterns are coming from the plugin, the auto chart, the PRS, the auto charting plugin here, where the automation allows for chart pattern recognition, the alerts up here in the top left hand corner, and of course they automatically draw the lines and levels of each pattern right on the chart, which is really, really nice. Okay, so those are the tools that are running on this right now, and again, with the exception of the color coding, you can get the download right from interbankfx.com. Okay, so I hope this 45-45 split as we kind of move from beginner to advanced was something that was helpful. Please be sure to visit the Daily Trading Edge over at interbankfx.com. That blog incorporates a lot of the questions that I get during our webinars and so forth, and I try to think about those when I'm writing our updates. Okay, so I hope you're visiting that, and we're still having our weekly presentations here throughout the month of March, so hopefully you can join me for our next one. Okay, so thank you so much for your time. As always, I appreciate it. I hope 90 minutes was a pretty good chunk of time that you were able to absorb a good amount of it. I know I throw a lot of information at you, but we try to build up momentum so that everything starts to kind of weave together, so you can see how it all works together. So I will hopefully see you in our next presentation, and I wish you good studies and even better trades. Okay, everyone, use a lot of caution. It's been a crazy market last few sessions, so use some caution, test out the ideas. Okay, don't jump into this crazy, test out some ideas. And again, remember, don't take unnecessary risks, gang. Test the ideas out, and, you know, market's always going to open tomorrow. Don't need to go crazy today. Okay? Take care.